Greetings. Welcome to TheQueenElle LLC. This is Queen Elle. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, this week has a lot of activity, and I will say that the theme for this upcoming week, which is June 8th through the 14th, is growth. So, if you're not familiar with my weekly astrology series, I post weekly astrology updates that not only cover what I consider the big 10 planets, and that is all of the 8 planets aside from Earth, as well as the sun and moon. So not only do I cover all of the planetary transits and the aspects that take place throughout the upcoming week, I also talk about how they will affect us as a collective, as well as individual zodiac signs that may feel the energy a bit stronger than others. So if you have not seen this current week's weekly astrology update, I will link it above, and that's for June 1st through 7th. But if you're ready for June 8th through 14th, stick around. So diving right in, we don't have any main planetary transits taking place on June 8th, but June 9th through 10th, we dive right in. We have, and so you'll see me looking off screen on both sides. I have my notes pulled up everywhere just to keep me on track, and if Spirit gives me any additional information to provide with regard to these transits, then I will provide that as well. So June 9th through 10th, we have Mercury in Taurus, sextile Neptune in Pisces. So what does sextile mean? You know, I always link my planetary aspects video up above, and that will help to give you a bit of insight with regard to the individual aspects, both major and minor. So sextile, it's all about energies blending together. And what do I mean by the planetary aspects? I mean the angle that is created when you draw a line from where we are on Earth to each respective planet. It's the angle that is created between the degrees of separation that they have. And so with regard to June 9th through 10th, we have Mercury sextile Neptune. Now, Mercury is our planet of communication and all about using that throat chakra and really expressing yourself, expressing your desires on a professional and a personal basis. Now, I know that everyone can agree that it's great that now we're in June and we're beyond the most recent Mercury retrograde. We have passed the shadow period as well, which just ended on May 31st. And now that energy is open and it's no longer hitting, like a roadblock with regard to how we express ourselves with others. So Mercury being sextile Neptune, and Neptune is our planet of inspiration. And this is a great time for starting things. If you have anything that you've been sitting on that you've wanted to do, any new venture, new project, anything that you have wanted to say that maybe goes against how you normally communicate, or just some words left unsaid between you and someone else, definitely June 9th through 10th is a great time to express that, to accomplish that, to start that venture, okay? Now, also, if you haven't felt inspired at all, then this is a great time to do things to spark your creativity. And some of the suggestions that I have noted are you can do some creative things such as childlike as it sounds, coloring, drawing, building things. Those things typically spark creativity in us, and it's not just the outward aspect as far as it being a form of art. It also sparks the creative juices within us. Journaling will spark those creative juices as well. You just find whatever is your thing, whatever works for you. Also, I would recommend to focus your meditation on the throat chakra as well as the third eye chakra with regard to tapping into what inspires you. Okay, so now moving on to June 10th through 12th, we have Venus in Cancer square Jupiter in Taurus. Now, Venus is not only the love planet, the romance planet. It's also about the things that we enjoy. And Jupiter is not only the lucky planet and the money planet, it's about the things that will help to bring in abundance. And abundance and success and prosperity, it can be different for everyone. Sometimes, yes, it would mean material goods and actually accumulating and acquiring wealth. However, we all place value on things differently. So some people, it may be more of a tangible good. Some people, it may just be a feeling of abundance, abundance in spirit, abundance of knowledge. You know, there are so many different ways that you can feel abundant and successful and prosperous in your life. So it's all about what that means for you. Okay. Now, with regard to this Venus in Cancer and square Jupiter and Taurus energy, square is not just a butting of the heads. It's really about facing things head on. It's about conflict and resolution. Now, if you look at it, I mean, it's all about your perspective. If you look at it like truly, you've been met with resistance and I'm just going to fall back. I mean, believe me, that has been me off and on over the years. But if you're all about your holistic wellness, if you're all about bettering yourself, then falling back is not necessarily going to serve you well. In this case, with regard to Venus square Jupiter, it's actually all about facing head on any areas of your life that you are overindulging in, areas of your life that you are a bit gluttonous in. Okay. Now, I will say that you find that area and, you know, you just have to do some actual self reflection and be accountable for yourself and, you know, really just take a look in the mirror at your own life and then you find the balance in your life. It's about a yin yang energy. Okay. Now, also, the energy will be strongest for those who have Jupiter in their chart as an earth sign or a fixed sign. Now, what do I mean by that? So you need to pull your birth or natal chart. And I always say there are free resources online. There are also free apps that you can download in order to identify what your birth chart is. And they do a pretty fair job of breaking down what it all means, you know. And by birth or natal chart, if you're not familiar with that, I will link my video above. But your birth chart, it is really a snapshot of everything that was happening in the cosmos when you were born. Literally, not only when you were born, but at the point where you were born, as far as the actual coordinates here on Earth. So in order to find out what your birth chart information is, you will need to provide your date of birth as well as the time that you were born. So that's essential to find out all of the planetary placements within your chart. You will know, you know, your standard sun sign is the zodiac sign. When someone says, what's your sign? That is where the sun was when you were born. And so that, in very, you know, infrequent occurrences, could change depending on the time of day as the sun moves from one zodiac sign to the next. But that is typically very easy to find if you just know your date of birth. Knowing the time of your birth will help you to identify your moon sign, your ascendant or rising sign, and all of the other planets which actually had a position and gave off energy when you were born, where you were born. Okay, so when I say to look at your chart and see where Jupiter is, you literally look at your chart, and also you can just search online for Jupiter birth chart calculator, and you can pinpoint just where Jupiter was in your chart without pulling your whole chart. But it's up to you. I definitely recommend pulling your whole chart just to identify as much information as possible. So you find Jupiter, and with Jupiter being in Taurus right now, the energy that is being felt with that Venus square Jupiter planetary aspect, it definitely will be stronger for those who have Jupiter in an earth sign or Jupiter as a fixed sign. Now, what do I mean by fixed signs and earth signs? So we have the elements. We know they are air, water, earth, and fire. And all of the zodiac signs fall in one of those elements. And so Taurus is an earth sign. Also, we have the modes. And so I will link my elements and modes video up above. The modes are cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And Taurus is a fixed zodiac sign. So let me tell you what you can expect if Jupiter is in your chart is either an earth sign or a fixed sign, or in this case, an earth sign that is fixed like Taurus. So the earth signs in Jupiter, you'll need to allow the flowing energy of that Venus in Cancer, being that water sign. You need to allow that flowing energy to help you realize that it's okay to let your intuition guide your wellness journey. So this is all about wellness, right? So again, if you have Jupiter in an earth sign, this time from June 10th through 12th, it's just a time for you to really find the balance in not only being, grounded and having that very realistic, very steady, stable energy, but also allow in, welcome in, open yourself up to receive the flowing energy that this Venus in Cancer transit is bringing to our lives, so that you can find that balance between the things that you enjoy as well as just that stability that you always have with regard to things in life. Now, those of you that have Jupiter in a fixed sign, those are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. It's important to note that you need to lighten up, really, in order to break from the mold. So you have a system in place. Okay, this is what I do in order to get ahead. This is how, like, my regimen in order to see the success that I want in life. But definitely during this time, you also have to open yourself up in order to be a bit flexible. Flexibility is not instability. It's just a bit flexible. You can still move ahead. You can still elevate and be flexible. You don't have to be so rigid with regard to how you elevate. So it's important to note that you can still do the things that you enjoy, just not in overabundance, and any type of, boundaries that you have in place, because that is also the theme of this week, which I will talk about a little later in this video, but that's also the theme throughout June, is about boundaries. It's important to have boundaries, but to not be so rigid and strict with them that you're unable to have an open mind or to, alter course, detour if necessary, because it's all about your wellness. So if you, by having this detour, sometimes we're faced with those detours, with those bumps in the road, as a way to steer us away from something that maybe we couldn't even see in front of us or around the bend that wasn't for our wellness. And this is a way that spirit, gently nudges us in the right direction so that we may see the growth that we seek. Okay. Now, I will say that if you have Venus in a water sign, because Venus is in Cancer right now, for those of you that have your Venus in a water sign, and you would find that out the same way that I said for Jupiter, as far as looking up your chart or looking up a calculator specific to Venus in your natal chart. So those of you that have Venus as a water sign in your chart, it's important to know that, and again, this is June 10th through 12th, that you may be tempted to either go against the wellness regimen that you already have in place, or to not start the one that you have been feeling an urge to start. And it's important to fight the feeling, fight the urge, push through, okay? Do not alter course unless it's for your wellness. If you're already on a wellness path that is actually, you feel well, you feel at peace with it, and you know that it is truly for your wellness, then you may be tempted to either go back to something that you were doing before that did not serve your wellness, or to now start just, doing something that won't serve your wellness. And yes, life is all about balance. So, we all kind of step off course sometimes, but just don't give in to temptation. And if you do, such is life, you just need to pick up the pieces, get back up, and follow that course again, okay? Moving on to June 11th through 12th, we have, and you see there's a bit of overlap there, but also June 11th through 12th, we have the moon in Aries, trine Venus in Cancer again, and Mars in Leo at the same time. Now, at this time, will work in your favor when seeking that balance that I was talking about. And this is the balance between the inner you and what you actually do with your life. So let me say that again. It's important to note that things will work in your favor when seeking a balance between the inner you and what you actually do. Because a lot of times, the things that we actually do when it comes to our actions, our activities, our behavior, does not necessarily align with the inner you. And really, that's only something that you would know. There are people who we allow in our inner circle who know us fairly well. They, have a firm grasp on, just who we are as a person, maybe our standards, just how we operate, how we roll, what makes us tick. But as far as the inner you, only you and spirit really know the true inner you. And so it's important to note that things will work in your favor June 11th through 12th when you're trying to find that balance between that inner self as well as what you project. I just received a bit more spiritual guidance with regard to this energy. So June 11th through 12th, I would say if you have a fire sign for your rising sign, then this balance is mostly needed for you. So again, something to look up in your natal chart. If your rising or ascendant sign is a fire sign, okay, with regard to that balance. Now, also on June 11th, we have Mercury trine Pluto. Trine is that 120-degree angle between Mercury, our communication planet, and Pluto, which is all about rebirth, regeneration, renewal in our lives. So Mercury trine Pluto wants us to use our words to affirm this growth and elevation that we seek, okay? And just so you're aware, we are inching closer to June 17th, which is Saturn retrograde in Pisces. And I will have a video posted this week. I'm not sure if it will post. It might post before this video, and if it does, I will link it above. But we are already in the shadow period because the shadow period started, I'm going to say the shadow period started in March. Don't hold me to that because I don't have those notes pulled up. But we are already in the shadow period leading toward this upcoming Saturn retrograde. So I will talk all about that when in the video, and also when the time comes for that weekly video. But yes, so we have Mercury trine Pluto. What I would recommend is to use I am mantras just to help you with that throat chakra. Also, tailor your meditative practices to manifest this transition. And this, again, like I said, is as we approach Saturn retrograde. Okay, so I'm going to do another quick check just to see if I've covered everything, because that gets us through June 12th. Okay, then we also have the moon entering Taurus on June 13th. That's more of that grounding energy that I was talking about. And June 14th, there may be a bit of a struggle with regard to our manifestation practices. And like I said, that inner you, we have the moon square Venus as well as the moon square Mars. So the things that you do that directly correlate with what you enjoy doing, it's all about facing the inner you to see, is this really right for me? And that ends up this week of the 8th through 14th, as we started from June 9th through 10th, as far as facing yourself and deciding, what areas am I overindulging in, and is that really for my wellness? Because that's the point of it all is, when you're overindulging, that means that you don't have balance in that area, because you're living and moving in excess in that area, which means that you essentially, if you look at how chakras need to be aligned and balanced, you are lacking in another area. So it's all about identifying and then finding the balance, not just seeking it, but actually finding the balance. Okay, so I hope that this video has been helpful to you today. I truly appreciate it. Please note that I do have my booking calendar is open for the analysis of birth charts. So feel free to access the link below in the description box to get my booking link, so that I may provide that service to you, just to help you dive into your birth or natal chart, and to give you some additional guidance and perspective. Okay, so thank you once again. I'll be in touch. It's been a pleasure. Peace. Ashe.